Is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in? I keep everything right here. Or right here. No, that's how you do it, right? Not having a...
Yeah, like her, she pointed to that, did he?
As women, unfortunately, we've all been there. It's something that we're probably all going to have to go through. Ventura, just all tips on love, relationships, sex, and it's rare for me to get a female in here. Yeah, I mean, I have guys rolling in here all the time, and hearing from the guy's perspective is one thing, but I'm very excited to have you here. Obviously, we have the new music, Love a Loser. We do. So, I mean, I think that's a great way to start off, loving a loser. We've all been there, I feel like. We've all been there. As women, unfortunately, we've all been there. It's something that we're probably all going to have to go through. But for you, what is that process like, loving a loser and getting out of that?
Well, when I wrote the song, the lyrics are, I'd rather lose a lover than to love a loser. So I'd rather lose, like, the love of my life than to love with her. It's just whack. And I think the experience of getting over it is usually pretty quick and easy if you really don't think that he's right for you anyway. Just keep it moving.
It's not always that easy.
It's not always that easy. Right. But, like, if you were paying for everything for him, or you were taking care of him, or he just didn't have any drive, or
He's not stepping out.
he's not stepping up, you have to think about those things, like, in your future. I think that that's important. But
Have you ever gotten dumped?
have I ever gotten dumped?
Actually,
No.
no. You've never gotten dumped.
No, I feel like in more relationships than not, it was me.
Great to pick him up.
It's not. It was like, I was like,
What was the hardest breakup you've ever had to do? How did you do it?
it was probably
Breakup tips from past tips.
That's probably like my high school boyfriend, but we broke up after high school because we moved away from each other, so it was difficult. We still loved each other,
Right,
but
we're separated.
so we were separated, and it was never gonna really work out.
What are your top 3 go-to things for somebody trying to get over a breakup?
I think that you're allowed to wallow, like you're allowed to be sad, but then you need to get out of the house, and you need to work out or do something active, and hang out with your girlfriend. Sometimes you need like female energy, like physically, not physically, but you know.
You need to hang out with
You need to hang out with some estrogen just to get you.
the difference of having like eyes on just a tip and like go to the club and girls out there with your girls.
But go with your girls, get dressed up, feel good about yourself, look good, feel
Yeah,
good.
not for anyone.
Not for anyone, just for you.
Yeah, I love that. So we have new music, morning music coming.
Morning music coming.
Is this all going to be a relationship?
It's relationship. It's, I think that it's important to be, as an artist, relatable to other people, but to really tell your story so they can get to know who you really are. And this album in particular is really personal to me, so it's going to be interesting to see how people receive it.
Your relationship is all over the place. People try to get a piece of what they think they know. Is that hard for the relationship? Is it annoying?
It is, but we've really been left alone in terms of just like the paparazzi or people going crazy. Like people really just like let us chill, which is nice. But it is hard when you're in it for sure.
Did it change things? Or you guys just learned to, you just learn to adapt to it after a while?
If you have love for each other, then there's nothing that should get in the way of that.
Okay, final question. Craziest place you smashed?
Ooh, craziest place I've been. Okay, it wasn't like dirty, but it was at a club.
Which club?
And I'm not telling you.
Oh my god.
It was a very clean situation. I know that for sure.
What city was the club in?
Miami Club, yeah.
She got smashed on Miami. It's hilarious.
So last night he used hymns. Honestly, nothing. Hear that music? Hear that voice? Take this photo back. You date a woman and see if you can tap. What was that? Pick your perfect matches. Instead of face, so Charlie Mack is this player.
But he didn't destroy the video.
He got it, but nobody knew it wasn't destroyed till years later. He was paid to destroy the video. That's obstruction. That's bribery.
It's only bribery. This is how the defense aborted. So it was not a bribery. That's how they did it. That's why it was
like it's not my family. She's got, you know, her family. She can always leave it. She's gonna have family support and, you know, all this back and forth and whatnot. But the kids, I would save them.
He's gonna see whether or not Sister Mercedes is actually willing to keep Malcolm X or not. You know, if Sister Mercedes is going
Yeah. So I don't know. I just find it weird that Carisha is supposed to speak up for her. You're expecting her to stand up. You know what it is? Maybe it's in a community the way black women take care of men, and then people just automatically believe that she's going to stand up for every victim. But I'm so glad that Carisha is choosing herself. Because that's going to get her paid. We know that muling for any other community doesn't work out for anybody. You don't get paid, you don't get nothing. It's free labor. So shout out to the Queen Supreme for getting on that damn mic. Period. Period. Unpaid labor. And I'm never going to be mad at a Carisha for playing the villain in the story, especially if she's getting paid. How about this? If y'all want Carisha to be pro whatever victim, how about all the victims go stream her music? Okay, go stream her music and get her that money back in blood. Okay, until then, nobody gives a fuck. Go stream that motherfucking music. we want her to speak on an experience that she didn't have. And they was mad at her, came out and told the motherfucker. They were mad at her before she came out and even told the motherfucking story. One of the dead homegirls. They saw Carisha happy and they were triggered. That's why I said it's okay to
It's my
play
girl
the villain,
Carisha.
especially when you're choosing yourself, especially when it comes down to money. They do it to every black girl who is not in that situation.
You don't have to hold a public office, right? You know, it doesn't require that anybody who's bribed holds a public office. That's not true. I can bribe my neighbor, actually. My neighbor saw me stole something, and I'm like, girl, I'm gonna give you half of this money if you know, tell them you didn't see me steal. Tampering with the witness, it's bribery. I gave them money.
But I think the word that you skipped over was official.
I didn't skip it.
The crime wasn't official, but the act wasn't official because the crime wasn't never reported.
That's not what an official. What do you mean? That's not what official act means, though. My testimony is me committing an official act. That's an official act.
The security guard wasn't a witness because the crime was never reported.
I can witness.
So they didn't bribe a witness.
He's the witness. He saw it.
He obstructed it. You understand? He obstructed anything from even becoming a criminal case for $100,000.
So you remember when Jay-Z and Solange got into the altercation on the elevator, right? Y'all remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So do you remember how the reason why it got leaked? I guess they didn't pay the security people to not leak it. I use that as an example because I don't think that it was gonna be reported as a crime more than it was being paid off to not be given to tabloids. So
that wasn't a crime, though.
but that elevator wasn't a crime. It was domestic violence.
That wasn't a crime.
They fought each other and it was domestic violence. Solange hit him, though. What? Telling you what's going on.
Hold on. She never hit the video. What are we talking about?
I'm
So
going to go
Solange
on
didn't say Jay-Z in the elevator. What is the analogy? How is the analogy bad?
We talking about now. Y'all talking about something else. Okay.
Yeah, I'm using it.
I've been to Brooklyn. Solange. How we got to Solange?
That's what I'm saying. Using Solange as if you was listening. You know, it doesn't.
No, I wasn't. That's why I looked it up.
So let me wait.
I'm trying to tell you why it's not relevant because there was never any there was never any charge that came where that video was critical. So it doesn't matter. It's not relevant.
And Brooklyn is saying there was no charge when it
But
came
there
to that.
was. That's why we got the videos. What is going on?
Oh, you're saying this eventual charge.
No, it was never domestic violence. Was never charged. We got the video. We got the video because when it was, that would have been the charge. If he was charged with anything, it would have been domestic violence according to the video. That was the crime that was committed on tape was domestic violence. It was never charged. He was never charged for that.
Domestic violence. He dragged her back to the room. He was also mistreating her against her will. It wasn't so. He did not drag her. What video did you watch?
So I'm
He
ready
didn't drag her back to the room.
Her incident becomes actionable when Cassie filed a civil lawsuit in 2023. The video surfaced in 2024, and the witnesses like Garcia testified in 2025 that were proud tying the payment to an obstruction charge. So they're
Yeah, that's what I was trying to. Yeah. So that. Yeah. So with Dr. Yeah. So Dr. G was saying like the charge. I get the disconnect. Brooklyn was saying there was no charge at that time, right? That years ago, there was no charge that was brought up. Dr. AG is saying the reason why bribery is in play with regard to that tape is that these charges were brought up, the charges of this particular case, and that's what makes it actionable. And Patty read that.
And they said now, and this is because how it might have been handled differently today. Now, hotels have stricter internal policies to report suspected domestic violence or assaults. If the same event occurred in 2024, 2025 at a modern hotel, corporate legal teams will report the video to avoid.
Don't forget that the hotel also got sued and she won that lawsuit.
The employee who received the $100,000 bribe could be charged for obstruction. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Young Miami. She's ready. She gonna be, and yeah, she's ready. So she's gonna be the one on Diddy's arm. I'm crying. Well, you know.
Why y'all get home? She tried to distance herself during the trial. She tried to distance herself whenever they questioned her. She was down in
back. So I was reading her tweets because Ion has a room about her. That's how people were like, "What's going on?" So I was reading her tweets.
Yep.
So she that's why I asked Mel, what does 1111 mean? Because she's being cryptic with it, but yesterday at 11:11, she wrote "God please" and put a heart beside it. And Mel told us that 11:11 is when they met. And then 2 hours ago, when he got when the verdict came through, she put 11:11 and she put 4 hearts. So she's happy. And then I started looking at her previous tweets, and somebody clearly was talking to her. You know what I mean? Like she was posting, just sexy pictures, and she wrote "God is the greatest." When was this? 3 days ago. People telling her, and then her pinned tweet is "driver ... take me to Chanel," and that refers to when Diddy took her shopping at Chanel. That's the pinned tweet. And that's from April. Stuff like that. She just she ready.
Yeah, but April, that was right after he didn't go to jail. Then he didn't get arrested until September. It was back. I think it was in
late March and April is when they started raiding the homes for the bullshit. He didn't go to jail in September.
Wait, you're talking about 20? You're talking about 24? No, this was April. No, this was April 25. She's just saying she's just reminiscing. Her pin tweet is from April 13th, 2025. But she wrote
stuff whenever they would question her in public.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. That's why her tweets are cryptic. She has not said much of anything except recently. So literally, I think it's like three. Let me see. I just read. I think three days ago, she wrote "God is the greatest," cryptic tweet. Then 2 days ago, she wrote 11:11. That's why I was asking Mel, what does 11:11 mean? That's her and Diddy. That's her saying, "God, please," right? That's. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 day ago. So that's yesterday, And then 2 hours ago, when the verdict came through, she wrote 11:11 and 4 hearts. So I'm saying she's ready to come out now. She's not gonna be distancing herself anymore. But little does she know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he can change Young Miami. So, she was in that love bombing phase. I don't think that she experienced a freak off. So maybe if they don't, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that. I care, but I don't care. But
maybe she's trying to get back in his graces. I have no idea, but I know she unfollowed him on Instagram. After all the stuff coming out, I remember when they were making a big deal about her unfollowing him. I remember a little comment she would make when they would ask her about Diddy, like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Like, even on her Carisha Please, she had said on Carisha Please, like, I can't speak on none of that. Yeah, I need to take a break from it, and she was talking about, I'm just focused on me and my career. So I do remember that. So.
And that makes sense. And you know what? The other part was probably like, he's a liar. So I'm sure he lied to her too.
Yeah,
and she probably was like,
you made me. He's free now. Now I still love you.
Yo, there's this gay guy in front of the court, and he got his shirt off, and he's rubbing baby oil all over his chest. I don't know. Look at the link. Tell me if it is him.
Yeah, I will tell you. Wait 1 second, because
I just put it in the chat.
That is something to not do. Let me look.
Yes, I will not be surprised.
There you go.
They haven't bailed him yet. The judge hasn't came back into the courtroom.
They better not rush that judge. He got some thinking to do.
No, that's not denied. That's so ignorant. See, but this is what I'm saying. I mean, oh my God. Oh my God.
It's a cold world, guys. It's a cold world. It's 2025. It's cold out here. There's sick people. There's cold people. Come on.
Y'all stupid as hell. I seen that video. Yo, this nigga's like, I'm sliding, I'm sliding with a bottle.
Yeah, I know. The report is saying there is baby oil present, she said.
Oh my God.
And that nigga got a whole purple suit on.
When I went into Plan B,
what was going on over there, Plan B?
Well, Successful was gloating, of course, and Erie was gloating.
How are they gloating if all these people claim that he was going to be found not guilty of all charges?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
They'll amend it in a heartbeat. But somebody, I was trying to read the chat, but one guy was just like, I mean, y'all sick as hell if you was rooting for this black man to go to jail for the rest of his life on these RICO charges. That's some sick shit. Like y'all, there's something seriously wrong with y'all. And he was like somebody, you know, he got 6 kids. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, yeah, I mean, what about our kids?
He got 6. He has 6 adults. He has 6 adults. Let's be clear. He has 1 little child. 6 adults. They're adults. Stop.
Besides getting freaky with baby oil, what did he do?
The same way Cassie was an adult. Guess what? Those 18 and 19-year-old daughters he has, they're adults too.
Was there a dead body in the Rico's case? Anybody?
What happened?
Was there a dead body or, you know, blood?
Lord, did you come over here to troll? Because you can't be trolling with a pink ticket. I just knocked the last one out with a pink ticket.
I'm just asking a question, ma'am. Was there a dead body in the case? Yes or no?
No dead body.
Answering the question.
No dead body,
What
right?
is the purpose of you asking the question if you know the answer?
What is the purpose, sir?
Wait, hold on, ma'am. I'm finna tell you. If y'all want to be mad because he's a freaky ass nigga with a lot of money that can make people do what he want them to do, that's one thing. But to say that he's a monster and doing all this extra,
I blame the women that stood by. The women that bashed, that stood by Megan. I blame you guys for the way the men are acting right now. Because that's the reason the men are doing what they're doing.
it was just a video. I mean, when Kendrick Lamar's wife was coming out the hotel with her nose bloody, nobody said Kendrick Lamar was a monster. Nobody.
I didn't know that. I guess he's a monster.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that, but I'm letting you know right now he's a monster too.
You know why you didn't know that? Because you probably don't like Drake and you probably was rooting for Kendrick Lamar and you don't care to know that.
That's
No. If it doesn't hit, if it does not hit social media, we don't know.
No, you
Mother freaker, you crazy.
No, I'm saying, are you a Kendrick Lamar fan or a Drake fan?
Listen, I ain't nobody's fan. I'm a fan of myself.
Realist.
The fuck?
Listen, realist. The one thing this is not Plan B, and this is not one of those rooms. So if you're gonna ask the question, be silent and get the fucking answer, okay? Because you're not gonna be talking over everybody, and we're not gonna talk over you. But you're not going to bully people, okay? So
if I can speak, can I let you know when I'm finished so y'all won't talk over me?
Like, we were giving you the opportunity to speak, so go ahead and speak.
You sure? Okay. Just let me know if this is my turn and we can do it.
But are you sure we can answer?
I'm not here rooting for Diddy, just to let y'all know.
It's your turn to twirl. The stage and twirl.
I'm not a Diddy fan. He should go to jail. Let's be clear. Let's get that out the way first, so y'all can get y'all panties out the bunch. You understand what I'm saying? So
I ain't got no panties on. Let's go on.
That's very common too. So what I'm here to say is though, what you have to understand is that yes, he beat her. He should go to jail for that alone. That's what I think. You understand what I'm saying? But you also have to look at if he was beating her so bad, why did you keep going back for so long? You understand what I'm saying? So that really helped him. Now, I'm not saying that he should be a free man. Nah, he done a lot of shit he should be gone for. But to say that the man was just Al Capone or John Gotti is ridiculous. Like, that's just sad. There's no gunshots. There's nobody. Well, Sean went to jail like 20 years ago for him. That's dead. But in this Rico, there's no dead bodies. There's no crime victim families in the courthouse. There's none of that. Just a bunch of freaky ass prostitutes and girls on the stand that got paid $30 million plus. Some still getting paid rent and shit. It's just a money grab. That's all it was. Real about the situation.
All right. So let's pause for a minute. So being real, why are you under the impression that a murder has to occur in order for a RICO charge to stand?
Because now this is something different, so don't jump off me. But if you know what the RICO was about, the RICO was for crime bosses. Let me say that again. Crime bosses. That's what the RICO case was made for. Is he a crime boss? I'm talking to the whole room. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So you think he's a crime boss? Oh yeah. So I had no cover. We had no cover.
Thank you, Goddess, for answering that. That means we don't have to hear him. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's fine, realist. So for the rest of the room, what makes Diddy a crime boss is he's the boss of Bad Boy Entertainment. and he had his employees, including his executive assistant, his other assistants like Brendan Paul, his bodyguards, his social media manager slash assistant Mia. He had all of these people, one, with drug possession for him and Cassie and whoever else, the guys that were hired. He had his employees engaged in criminal behavior, all for his satisfaction, and they had to cover up for the reputation of Diddy to remain pristine. So that's why he's a crime boss, because he was engaged in crime and had his employees doing those criminal activities. That's why. Of course he left. Of course he did. So they'll get it eventually. Like Dr. A.G. said, like just because somebody's not found guilty doesn't mean that they did it. But this is what I think is interesting is that
OJ was found not guilty.
Okay. Okay. And the thing is that like he did contradict himself, but he said out of his own mouth, Diddy did a whole lot of shit, right? But you're mad about the RICO charge. And it's true. I mean, I get it that like RICO came out, relative to the mafia, but these people, they just, thought about RICO here too. But if witness tampering, bribery, sex trafficking, arson, if all of that shit falls under RICO, Diddy is guilty of that shit. I mean, he wasn't found guilty. I get it, but like he did all of that. I mean, when somebody said that, like the arson was dropped, I was surprised by that. I mean, it wasn't, by the way, but I was surprised by that because the license plate, of the car that took Diddy over to burglarize Kid Cudi's home was connected to Bad Boy Entertainment. Capricorn, his employee, was forced to go over to for Bad Boy Entertainment. Like, to me, this is obvious. These are obvious RICO activities, unless there's some other activities that. Is there? I'm assuming that there are other like I don't know. Well, I don't know the different crimes, but I'm learning. But are there other crimes that involve your employees that are not RICO? You know what I mean? Like I don't. If there are, he probably did that too. It's just like just.
They talking about us.
Who?
Talking about motherfuckers making bad bets politically.
Who's making bets?
So it's crazy because Lou was in my back channel. I was like, he's in my back channel. So I was like, what's going on? So I was like, let me go to the room. I went to the room and Gemini.
Oh, they fucking with Gemini. They bothering Gemini.
Then on top of that, they brought up Ghost.
Oh my god.
They brought up what?
Gold is that from Trump and Kamala.
They're associated.
TC being a dick.
They're associated on no thug bully too. They're associated that shit with.
Wait, there's thug bully is in there too?
Child, I'm not going back in that damn room.
That room is a cesspool, Miss Ab.
That means they tag teaming on Gemini.
I message
Dang,
I'm giving
Tell Gemini to save himself. Run, Forrest.
Tell Gemini to tell them to come over here.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, the two Gemini, that it wasn't wasn't in our room. It was in the wood room, right?
Right.
He made those.
That was done in our room.
No, it was in the wood room. It was a guy and a young lady on that side.
But they saying that probably because Gemini be over here all the time. And
Correct.
It over here. So they like, yeah, you team politically correct. Y'all be making bad men. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane.
They said the men are politically correct don't want to pay up and they make bad.
Unbelievable.
Why would anyone, first of all, why would anyone bet on a 90, don't they have like a 98% conviction rate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet it. That'd be kind
No,
of
but technically Gemini won the bet.
Wait.
Yeah, he did. He did win the bet. That's okay.
Yeah.
But why would anyone bet against a 98%?
So it's like, why are you fucking with him? Just give it. They need to pay him his $100 for 2 people.
But when you're talking about emotions, right? It would be emotional to bet against, the number. Betting against someone that has a 98% conviction rate is wild to me.
Wait, I want to ask
on a
you
trial.
because
I would never bet on the verdict in a trial though, because that shit can go 50-50. Like that ain't even, like I wouldn't even bet on that, because hell no, I don't bet those.
They said Lisa 420 too. They said Lisa 420. They said.
Yeah, Lisa only $5. What's up?
hold on, y'all. Hold on, Juicy. I wanted to, because Juicy is in all these rooms. Juicy, I wanted to ask, what's your assessment of the verdict and what are you hearing in all of these terrible rooms that we find ourselves in?
Hello, good afternoon, ladies. These rooms are chaotic, to say the least. I am tired. I'm already tired, okay? The day before, not even 2 days ago, there was an IGB room trying to hold Black women accountable for the charges allegedly being dropped. Like, make it make sense. I didn't know that we were committing the crimes. We were just talking. Yesterday was a lot of back and forth with people trying to predict what the outcome will be, because the judge said, allegedly, the judge said, listen, you gotta say for all or for none. People thought that he was going to have a not guilty on everything, right? Because the judge said, listen, you have to deliberate on everything, not just one particular thing. Like there was a lot of hang-ups on the RICO case, from as far as what I heard. And lastly, people now are just thinking that he's going to go home scot-free, even though he is guilty on 2 counts. So, at the end of the day, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, there's like 20 rooms open.
Yes, yeah.
And I chose to be with God.
Against women, violence against Black women and Indigenous women, it's crazy in this country. It's insane the amount of violence. Happy about, it just, you can't get through that kind of mindset. You can't. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but when the dudes do it, I'm like, yeah, they dudes. But when the women do it, I'm like,
Exactly, man.
But yeah, I think
the thing now,
everybody.
How much time is he gonna do? He did get convicted on 2 counts of what?
Yeah, so it could be a minimum of 4 to a maximum of 20.
And it can get you know how it goes, how much he'll actually end up.
And then Trump could come in the middle of his sentence.
Oh yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
That was the other thing. Now, your friend, your homeboy, Anthony, the man said that Trump was going to make sure that Diddy was free. I'm like, Trump is what? Since when Trump niggas go? Except for that one nigga, maybe 2. But oops, so sorry, y'all. My have my tone. Anyway, since when does he just let people scot-free unless they pay him or do something very, very nice for him, or they're very good friends? Like, he's not touching this, because again, that will go back to the Elon Musk and that damn Epstein list. He would be a fool to touch this mess.
Well, Donald Trump is a fool, and he probably will touch this mess because that's who he is. So it's not that much of a stretch of an imagination that he would try to like say, "Oh yeah, that's my boy." You know, I've known him for years. You know, I probably was. You know, he probably was in. You know, one of his freak-a-deek nights. Some of the quiet ones that not many people know about.
So I just Googled what he said. So it says a May 30th White House press briefing. Trump was asked about pardoning Diddy. He said, nobody asked, but I know some people are thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking, and I'm looking at the facts. He noted that they were friends. He used to really like me a lot and emphasize he would focus on whether Diddy was mistreated.
Yeah, I actually think that Trump would pardon Diddy because he is duplicitous like that. And just 2 days ago, he was at a press conference talking about how deporting people who are illegal has been one thing, but he has shifted and said, you know, there's also a lot of people who have been here for a very long time, who were born here, born in this country. They've been here for a very long time, and they've been committing a lot of crimes. So, you know, what they've been doing, we think we should get rid of them as well. So we're going to have that. That'll be the next conversation.
Where's the Where's the maggots, doctor?
So I think that he would.
Gemini.
Exactly. So I've been telling, you know, these black men in particular, you don't think you're the next target, but they don't think that they're the next target. But to me, that's perfect, because like this is what the MAGAs. All you got to do is every time any crime comes up, they always say, you know, these are the usual people. They say it all the time, like tweet after tweet after tweet, post after post, you know. And then of course, you know, I mean, you know, we are out here acting up, so I mean, it is pretty funny. But like the mob, the stuff like that, they're, you know, they're coming. So I think they would do it for that reason.
They got alligator Alcatraz ready for them.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
what
that
the hell don't y'all realize? And I was just seeing the thing on TikTok this morning, and it didn't hit my mind till then, and I'm sorry it didn't. But they were showing pictures of how the KKK and other white nationalist racist groups had always used the trope of black people as alligators.
Yep.
And I'm like, dear God in heaven, here we go. Here we go. And he was talking about, too, Trump was talking about these people being used to help farmers, and the farmers were going to be put in charge of them. And I'm like, be responsible for them. And I'm like, wait a damn minute, here we go. We all said this was going to happen. We tried to tell people this was going to happen, and it's happening. And where are they? I want their asses in here front and center.
Yeah, so here's the blackmail MAGA logic. Y'all ready for this? So these people say, oh, somebody who crossed the border, whether, you know, the government knows it or not, they're illegal and they should be, you know, detained, deported, sent to alligator detention halls and things like that. Shit like that, right? But the Diddy didn't really do it, and if he did do it, he did it at the behest of the ladies that he was with, the ones who had less power than him, right? So he shouldn't go to jail. I mean, this is the MAGA male logic at its best. This is what I've been hearing in these rooms. I'm just...
Yeah, this is right up Trump's alley because he likes to pardon sex crimes because he is a sex criminal, and it's also celebrity, and he likes proximity to celebrity, so he's likely to pardon for that reason. Those two reasons alone, I believe he will pardon, and then he will ask black people for credit.
Totally agree. Totally.
And then dumbass black MAGA men will come in here and count that as a win for black people.
Yeah.
That is so sad.
Roz, did Mel tell you we heard you going off on the MAGA men yesterday?
Yeah, she did. I lost it.
I was so proud. I was like, yes, Roz, yes.
Yeah, I lost my shit. I went from 7 to 10 in like 2 seconds.
Because these people will take you there. These people will take you there.
I couldn't stand that house.
Can you let us know when you're about to crash out, Roslyn, so we can stream it here, please?
I will.
You said we streamed it. Oh, you did?
Yeah, because I would pay money for that.
Yeah, you guys weren't here.
What did Roslyn say?
My sister told me that they talked about me for an hour after I left.
Oh my God.
All right, so Rosa, I'm gonna buy you. What do you want, a condenser or do you want a broadcast microphone
That's
for
what
your
I
epic
need.
crash outs? All right, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, Big Mike all the
You guys, Cappuccino was recently in a meeting with Ibrahim Traore and Diddy. You know, that's wonderful.
We need to
Y'all
get
know
all the
Cappuccino.
ladies a Big Mac, okay, in this room so that we can.
I don't need no Big Mac because I already.
Patty, your voice is the Big Mac, honey.
I don't think I need a big mic either because I'm from
Dr.
Chino.
Goddess, you got a good mic. Whatever mic you got is good.
Oh, I just have a regular. My thing is just a regular iPhone. So,
I need to get
I
with you
don't need
about
one
the
'cause I be
settings.
yelling.
I need to get with you about the settings on the iPhone.
Oh, you know what? Let me see.
There's only one setting. It's just volume. The volume knob. I didn't know it when you turn the volume knob. Your mic is louder. I'm like, oh, I thought I'm trying to hear you better when I'm walking outside. I didn't know my volume would go up too on the mic, but that's apparently what it does. Who knew?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Me neither.
You gotta arm yourself with the Lord and a big mic on Clubhouse, okay? Get one as soon as possible.
Yes.
God, I don't need these people to hear what I be saying. I'm good.
I'm like, Lord, wait just a minute. Don't listen, turn away.
That part.
That part
That part.
because I'm about to dust.
All Patty needs is a New York accent.
No. Because I have a real life, so if I get a big mic, I might really get fired. Like, I can't get fired, but I might end up in prison fucking around.
Okay.
So, but I don't think the Diddy thing is exclusive to MAGA men, obviously. And we spoke about it in here, and I'm like, I don't think it's necessarily a win because, like I was saying the other day, I was like, I think prostitution will one day be legalized, right? And when it does, I think, that's all. If that's all they got him for, then I think that's a bad look because to spend all this money to prosecute someone for prostitution,
right?
When it's legal in at least one state, and it might be legalized one day, maybe 10 years from now. I think it is a waste of resources, right? I think arguably the arson wasn't a good charge, right? They have a fingerprint of someone else. They I don't know if he paid to cover it up or whatever, but they never ran the fingerprint. Like, they never even said who the fingerprint was.
Oh, yeah, they did run it, and they just didn't say who it was. Remember, they said it was a
woman,
female.
right? Yeah.
It was a female. So it may be someone that is testifying.
Oh, so they have immunity? Like, it could be Capricorn clock, but they never could say.
Right, so they said it was a female. They knew it was, they said it was linked back to the female. They never revealed who the female was. They just said it was not a male.
Yeah.
And
so
also,
I mean,
it said the car leaving, leaving Kid Cudi's house was a Bad Boy Entertainment vehicle. So that's why I didn't think that I didn't think that was going to be a charge that wasn't going to stick.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll be back.
Even I don't think whatchamacall was a good witness, Kid Cudi, when it came to that part. When it came to breaking and entering,
witnesses fucked up.
yeah. And
But
so,
but truthfully, you
that's
can
all
only
I'm saying.
tell what you know. I mean, that's the only thing. It's like, even if you are a victim of something, or possible victim of something, doesn't mean you know everything that went on and the full aspects of how you became that victim. Like, so that's the only problem. I mean, unless you have a crystal ball that shows you step by step what the person did, even as a victim, you're at the behest of your knowledge and how they ask the questions. And that's what you got.
Yeah, but I'm curious to know what else were those tapes, because what I thought this case, this case played out differently from what I thought. I thought this was going to be what was on those tapes, and he was extorting people from those videos that he had.
That's what I thought
was going to happen. I had no idea these freak-offs were going on. So me personally, I just felt like I don't know if this is necessarily the direction that they wanted the case to go, but I think maybe this is what they had because the case was rushed. Yeah. And for him to only get prostitution, like I said, I think I don't know if this is necessarily a win in the books for the federal prosecutors. I mean, numbers wise, it is.
This is a gigantic L. No, this is a gigantic L for them.
Yeah, but we don't know exactly what was first charged or what was proposed, because a lot of stuff gets, it gets taken out. Judges are like, well, this evidence can't be used, and if that particular evidence can't be used, then guess what? These charges won't work for the case. Because to be honest, we know for a fact that he was using sex tapes to coerce people into signing contracts. Like, that's like a completely known thing in the industry for 30 years.
Okay.
That's who this guy is. Right, it wasn't shown in the case. Right. So all that
charge has to be a 10-year period.
Right.
Right. So
the point is,
how did he get those sex tapes? Because that wasn't like
he made them. Because remember they took the cameras out of his home. They took out tapes. You realize that wasn't even brought into the case?
Sex tapes. That's where I'm confused. He can make sex tapes.
Well, okay, yes, he can make sex tapes, but it wasn't the fact that he made sex tapes. It's the fact that who's on it and how they were using the sex tapes.
Okay, yeah. Right. So how they were using it.
Yeah, they were using it for contracts.
From my understanding, did they know when they were going to these parties what was?
I don't think they knew they were going to be recorded.
Okay.
Having sex acts. Yeah.
I'm still not sure about these parties. Like, I mean, like, so just even like on the internet and stuff like that, throughout this entire time, I have not heard people say, like, yeah, I was young, I went to a Diddy party, I ended up naked, I was with groups of people. I have not seen that. I thought that was going to come out in these trials, but I just haven't seen any of it. And like I said, Roy, I don't know if you were in here, and Juicy, Amber Rose, I know that she's not the only person, but I'm just saying, she said that she was invited to, and she went to most of Diddy's parties, and she said that her and Ray J were talking like, did we miss something? Like, were these some parties that we weren't invited to? Because she said that, like, none of that ever happened at any of the Diddy parties that she went to. Like, not the way
quoting Amber Rose.
I mean, I'm just saying. She said, look, Dave Chappelle said that he said he realized that he wasn't invited because he was ugly.
That was funny.
I'm just saying, he was like, I said, damn, that's when I knew it was real. He was like, I realized I was ugly. I was crying, laughing. But no, people were like, Diddy, why weren't you at the parties? You ain't go to the parties, you know what I mean? And he was like, I didn't go to the parties. And he was like, thinking about it, and he said he realized that he wasn't invited because he's ugly.
The other thing is, it's like, not only, I know Ray J might have said no, but there's so many people who said yes, and then at the same time, there are people who were like, yo, I know what was happening, and I broke out before it happened. And like, when you got people like Lord Jamal from Brand New Being, who knows Diddy really well. Remember, these are people who came up under the same era, under the same music labels or MCA, and they're like, yo, this is the type of shit that was just going on. We knew these dudes. We knew what they were doing. We just never, put ourselves into that situation because, like, hell to the no. So, and then it's confirmed by all the friends of theirs are like, yeah, that shit went down. I mean, the Meek Mill situation, did Meek Mill's get on the stand? Everybody swore to God that he was getting tagged up by Combs.
Yeah, but that
so
but what's it that just made up?
I don't know.
I don't know. Jaguar right. I blame Jaguar right.
Well, no, get her out of here.
Jaguar wrong.
Yeah, just get her out of here.
The way she told us about Diddy was not even nothing how we thought this would play out. I blame her.
Right. And here's the thing though with Meek Mill Royal, the gays put us on because that tape that people kept playing, it was like that's Meek Mill and Diddy. The gays told us that was gay porn. That was just, you know what I mean? That wasn't real. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's like a lot of made up stuff out here.
Yeah, I can believe that.
This is the, and then also with the prosecution, like, no offense, but like, did they have anybody black working with their asses? Cause I'm just like, how y'all gonna skip over, like, you skipping over a lot. And how was, I'm not understanding why KK, other than the schedule, why wouldn't you bring KK in there? I don't understand that part. She was mentioned over and over and over and over. I mean, give her immunity.
So the actual, there's an actual trial that happens before the trial. So what we see is like very small, but there's actually like a whole arguments about what pieces of evidence are able to come in and stuff. Because we mentioned yesterday about the unmarked guns or whatever, the guns with the serial numbers scratched off. None of that stuff came in, right? That surely would have helped show the criminal enterprise, because how would you, enforce these things, and how are people scared of you and stuff like that? You have an arsenal in each one of your homes, right? With no serial numbers, like people, you know what I'm saying? But that wasn't part of the case. So there's just so much that just really wasn't part of the case. And I think when I look back at it now, like, it's really surprising that I don't really think that this is how they intended things to go. And so, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm asking. Like, did they have anybody black helping with the case, right? Because Diddy is known for being like a low down person, but I don't recall anybody talking about what he did with guns other than the Shine situation, which is outside of the statute of the RICO. Like, he's not known for rolling up on people with guns. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I would be like, don't waste your time on that.
Yeah, but
unless you have information, unless there's something concrete, then I wouldn't pursue that. But there's other things I felt like they didn't pursue. And I'm just like, hi, y'all, what's going on? Like, this is not, like many of you all have said, this is not what I thought the prosecution was going to be.
Right. I mean,
is this led by Tony Busby type thing? You know what I mean? Like, Tony Busby is the one that opened up the hotline. So.
Yeah, that was a hot mess. That was a complete hot mess. I still think that the fact that they did find the illegal guns in his possession or in his homes, and knowing that he did diddles and guns, even if we don't hear stories about it. I mean, even in this case, a story was told about guns. So, I didn't think that before in the past. I never known Combs to be messing with guns. But when they bring it up and then they talk about the stuff found in this house, and then you think back at that nightclub shooting, it's like, oh, damn, they might be onto something here that I didn't even put together. And so, the fact that it was all taken out of the case, question marks. Rings a lot of bells like, oh, I get it. The prosecution was basically hamstrung, which I get, that's what the defense is supposed to do. They're supposed to make sure that everything doesn't get in. And so their case was weak because they didn't get everything they needed to get in to build the case correctly.
And then the other thing is, I'm really tired of these men, especially on the app, saying it's like they understand that what Diddy did to Cassie was domestic violence, but they can't get their head around how his violence could lead to forced labor or even like sex trafficking. That's what bothers me. Like for them, violence is only under the domestic violence category. It's not under coercion for them. It's not under, I'm talking about the toxic men on the app. And the toxic women, quite frankly. It's not under forced labor. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I mean, I'm new to this too, but I can see it.
I'm not a psychologist, but I will say this. I know I'm not supposed to do that, right? Comfortability in something is always apparent. You look at the video, he was very comfortable in his violence in that case, right, in that issue. Of course, not the first time we know him to be dealing with violence. Of course, we know about the situation with the brother from Universal, the manager for Nas. We know about him and Shaka Khan's son and that whole Shaka Khan situation that happened. And I spoke to Indira, which is Shaka Khan's daughter. I know her pretty well, and she broke the whole thing down to me on how it happened out in Cali. And it was like, it was all about this whole Whitney Houston situation. And I thought it was just some Jaguar right bullshit. No, she confirmed it, and I need to bring on this app so she'll break the whole thing down to y'all of how that went down. So basically, he's known to be violent. That's not a surprise. He's very comfortable in his violence. You can see it in that video that he's comfortable in his violence. So anybody was to say, oh, this was like something that he doesn't really do, and nah, bruh, you can't be that comfortable in your violence unless you've done it before and gotten away with it before. And of course we know this because he paid the hotel off to get rid of the evidence. This is who he is. Are we gonna ignore that part?
Yes, deep. Hey, Scotty. Hey, Brian. Sue's on the phone.
Hello. Hey, I just had a question, and maybe it's been talked before. You know how everybody was talking about before, this prosecution team or whatever district, I don't know what it is, has a 98% conviction rate. So is the 98% based on the counts, or is it just like overall they're found guilty of one count and that counts as their conviction rate?
Overall.
Right, so then the 98% thing is kind of bullshit then.
Yeah,
because people were talking about, they were talking about that as if like, oh, they're never gonna fail, but then you're looking at it like, all right, there's some failure here. So they still count out at 98%. Okay, because people are going on for that for
Yeah, and people don't count in, like, when you plead guilty, that's a conviction. So the 98% doesn't mean that they win in court 98% of the time.
Right, thank you.
Because some of their cases don't even go to court, and the person pleads guilty, so that counts as a conviction. You know what I mean?
Right, so you could have, Dr. AG, you could be charged for 100 counts, and if they get you on one, that could be part of their 98% conviction.
Yes.
Look at that.
Okay, you got, pardon me for interrupting. We got updates. So, I'm just going back real quick. 1 second. Okay. Oh wait. So he's okay. So an hour ago, Inner City Press says there's going to be a bail hearing, and one way or the other, a sentencing down the road, maybe an appeal of the Mann Act convictions. Working on week 8 book right now. All right. So then 1 hour ago, he writes. Oh, he was talking about being locked in. Never mind on that. Okay, so as of 30 minutes ago, update. Sean Combs' lawyer's 6-page letter asking for release today on bail has just been docketed. The U.S. Attorney's Office letter is not in the docket as of 1:33 p.m. All right, so here's the letter, you guys. It's via email to Judge Supermanian. And it says, Dear Judge Supermanian, Mr. Combs moves for release on appropriate conditions pursuant to 18 U.S.C. Pending his sentencing proceeding. Given the jury's clear verdict acquitting Mr. Combs of the RICO conspiracy and sex trafficking counts, continued detention of Mr. Combs is inappropriate. As these proceedings have demonstrated, and as we told the court from the outset of this case, Mr. Combs came to New York to surrender in order to defend against the government's charges because he was, quote, committed to showing his innocence. Since his arrest and detention on September 17, 2024, Mr. Combs has obeyed the court, respected these proceedings, and demonstrated model behavior at the MDC. That's the Department of Corrections. And today, the jury unambiguously rejected the government's allegations that Mr. Combs ran a years-long criminal enterprise or engaged in sex trafficking, the core of the government's case. Mr. Combs stands convicted of 2 Mann Act counts, and his sentencing exposure is substantially lower than when the government initially sought detention. The court should release Mr. Combs on the proposed conditions. So that was 30 minutes ago, and then...
Dr. Goddess, what section of 18 are they?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I did skip over it because there was so many numbers. But it was section 18 USC, and it says it's 3143, parentheses A, and then parentheses 1.
Okay.
All right. So then 24 minutes ago, says Diddy docket, after Sean Combs found not guilty of RICO and sex trafficking, convicted on Mann Act, asked for release of bail. 6-page letter. I think that's just him putting more information. He put the full 6-page bail letter on Patreon. 22 minutes ago, there's nothing to report right now. Both sides' bail letters were due at 1 p.m. Combs' lawyers was docketed at 1:30. The U.S. Attorney's Office letter is still not docketed, waiting to see what time judge holds argument. And 17 minutes ago, update, United States submits letter docu-signed by Deontay Nash. Release equals, quote, message that wealth and influence can shield someone indefinitely from accountability. It will also endanger those who cooperated under the subpoena who are already living in fear of retaliation. So here's